hasretin var. Yürekler aşkınla çarpar. Sensiz dünya bizlere dar. Selam sana ey kutlu yar. With submission, faith and patience, you conveyed the noble message, brought us light.
What is the ideal age for your generation to get married? Again, it depends. But generally speaking, it's understood that in school, when you are in the university for ladies, when you are out of school, out of the university, and you've got a job for boys, you can get married. Then you are financially responsible enough to take care of a woman and a child. I don't think many people today, not even myself, would encourage my jobless son to get married because that would be an additional burden, and then he will be irresponsible. Generally speaking, I'm saying the operational understanding and definition of the hadith of the Prophet, Ya ma'ashara shabab, man istata'a minkum al-ba'a falyatazawwaj, because according to the Prophet, that is aghaddu lil-basar wa ahfadhu lil-farj. These were the two things that our parents understood and took judicial notice of. Aghaddu lil-basar, kó máa wọ́n ṣe wéré-wéré nítorí pé tó bá ti di ìgbà kan, tó bá ti di pé ó lálàá, ó ń súfèé, ó ń pàgìrì, ó ń ṣe kò sígbà tí ò ní mo máa lè wálé, wa ahfadhu lil-farj. And it is necessary for the preservation of chastity. These should be understood together, and I think I've hazard, I hazard, an approximation. When a young lady is even in the university, sometimes it takes too long. If she's reading medicine or engineering, she could get married in school, provided that is going to be convenient, provided they are going to exercise caution so that she doesn't lose any time. When a young man leaves the university, he has a job, marriage should not be delayed, provided, of course, he has been tutored, he has been inducted, and that will get us into another thing. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, you have of the men.
Assalamu alaikum. In addition to what has been said, I don't want to repeat what you said already. So, what amount of wealth is needed before a brother choose to get married? Must you have to be able to afford the house here in Lekki? No. At least you should be able to afford minimum of a room and parlor. A room and parlor. Or 2-bedroom flat. And have a steady income, even if it is 50,000 naira or 100. So then as for the ladies, because of our nature, and we still need to increase our numbers as Muslims, because of the menopausal age is reducing. I have a friend who became menopausal by 40. So I think our generation should get married a bit early. Because of our educational system, we see women staying till 27, 30 before considering marriage. It's now getting very difficult to get married. Since we now go to school even early, by 20 we are out of school, I believe a woman should be ready for marriage. Because of our menopausal age, we are not like a man that can still father a child at the age of 70. So, even 80.
discover their sexuality by accident. A lot of parents do not intimate their boys about discovering sexuality. You know, some of them are shy to even tell you that they have wet dreams, and it is something that it begs the question: what do our boys do after they find out this, that they can actually have erection? Please, I mean, I'm not going to class, please do forgive me. They have erection and they have feelings they do not understand. They get confused. This is confusing, you know, for boys. At a certain age, they're so confused because they feel guilty. They don't understand a lot of things. Now, what helps them? Social media. Social media will help them through videos. Like I said earlier, we watch different films. I'm not even going to pornography right now. I'm even talking about non-romantic films. And they feel that they have certain feelings they cannot understand. Why am I having this kind of feelings? They want to find out what this feeling is, and then they get to school. When they get near girls, they get certain feelings they do not understand again. And then this goes on, and this is what leads to what? Sexual promiscuity, because there's nothing stopping it, there's nothing educating it, there's nothing telling it, hold on, you can actually hold on. Now for the girls, we have different ways we grow. Some girls are voluptuous even at 12. When I say voluptuous, I mean completely. They're 10 out of 10 already. Where some 27-something-year-old are just struggling. You know, so it is very, very important, first of all, to understand the sexuality of the two parties. Sexual inclination to women is different from sexual inclination, to men. For women, it takes, especially when you're voluptuous, it is most likely that you feel sexually active in your head. I had a niece-in-law. By 12, she was already there. She didn't understand a lot of things. In my mind, I was thinking in my mind without even speaking out. Oh God, this girl has to get married early. She went to the US. Alhamdulillah, she found a wonderful Muslim guy, and she got married at 19. She was studying then. You know, this is Islam coming in because two of them understand, right? The sole aim of both of them getting married is not to have children now. They know that in their head, the need to be sexually fulfilled is high. It's out there, and they do not understand. And they know that you do not want to go into what? So they say, okay, fine, let's get married. But we won't have kids now because it's going to get in my way of medicine. I'm already doing nursing, I have to finish it up. Right? And the guy as well. So for me, the sexual activity and knowledge that is given to our children will determine whether they are ripe enough. When my daughter was in the university, when she was going, I said, see, anytime you want to get married, now beg, I should kneel down. Please, no sexual activities. If you're ready, we're ready. If you say it's not, we're ready. Why? Because I know anything can happen in the 4 walls of the school. By the time she was 19, we had the conversation again. And I had seen that there was somebody very active on her phone. And I said, this person has to come and prove himself. He doesn't want any corner love. Luckily, you know, everything is Allah. Let's just be truthful to ourselves. Because a lot of things could happen. And then he came around and said, I want to get married to you. And she was 19. I said, as for me, it is tomorrow, it's not money. Money is not what makes marriage. You want to get married tomorrow, we're ready. But his parents said, no, he has finished school, okay, but I want him to have a job. You know, so that there was that understanding. So for me, I would be very hesitant to say, because I mean, we're in a generation where knowledge is there without anybody asking. Your child that you think is a virgin club is virgin since 11, without you even knowing. So the first thing I feel is that, how close are we to our children? Are we deluded that they are what we think we are, or they're not even there at all. So gradually trying to understand your children and making them see that, there are no wrongs or rights. But when it comes to Allah's laws, we have to know that we have to hold on to this. And anytime you want to get married, please do tell me. Now, sexuality becomes one of the key things. I remember the time Rasulullah when two people wanted to get married, and Rasulullah said, "What dowry do you have to give this lady?" And he said, "None." And Rasulullah noticed a ring on his hand, and I said, "This would also do." So it goes to show that you really don't have to have a lot, and that the purpose of marriage is peace. Islam is what? Is peace. We look for happiness. Happiness is a branch of peace. Happiness in itself is just one thing. There's so many things inside peace that we're looking for. Some people say I'm looking for love. Some people say I'm looking for happiness, but you find it only in peace. So if you're looking for peace, it means that you have to look up for some of those things that are very, very crucial. I'm going to find peace if I'm sexually gratified with the right person. Meaning that I'll probably find happiness and will also align with what Allah wants me to do. We're in Gen Z, and now you are bragging. Very soon you'll be old, and there will be another generation. And that generation will tell you that, all these things you're talking about, it doesn't matter to us. So, but we as this generation that you call us, we have to understand where you are. And we have to understand the fact that it will bring some things in. It will probably not work. So what will work? I'm always very, very emphatic on sexual activities. Right? If parents will support their children, especially when they know that then you have to really help your child. Yes. And let them know that the reason why you're getting married is not because of what? The byproduct of marriage is what? Children knew. The purpose of marriage, if you check all the Quran, Allah never mentioned children. The only time He gives is when He said, I can give you what? A male or a female, or give them both, or just one, or none. It is never a prerequisite.
Okay.
It is just the byproduct. Thank you very much.
Kabirullah. Okay, so we are starting from that point because we are building up to the point. If you get to a point where we then entertain questions from the audience. But while the question was being answered, we had one of our panelists come in person of Amir Sharifuddin Maya Leiki. Thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate your presence here. Now, the next question, I will start from where the mic is present, is, like I said, we have cumulative, so how many years have you been married? So I can add it to our cumulative. Everybody has declared their own. My own is the list, I can let you see it. It's very long. Okay. $15, 16 years. So that means that if I add all the years, we are almost at 100. So what you are seeing here is cumulative 100 years of experience. So you are allowed to take your pen and write. The next question is quite very practical. And I'm asking this so that you can understand. When you are married, a lot of things, I keep saying that the concept of marriage, no matter how long you date, the day reality sets in is the day you get to your house and you lock the door. Our can image movie. Before then, she can come and greet, she will go back to her father's house. Nobody will go to school, and you're not going home. And she says, I'm going home. But this one, she loved because I know this is the home. So in being married for this long, what was one shock that you experienced when you got married? Yeah, so we'll start, everybody will give an example of one shock that they experienced that, I should push it down the lane, you'll no survive for me. No, breakfast, I wasn't married, don't put on breakfast, I wasn't married. I had brothers, yes, yeah. Yeah.
Usually it says, for women it is always a root shock, right? When my daughter got married and I asked her 2 days after, how far? Is that what people have been bragging about? I said, yes, that's it. I said, yes, that's it. that is it. For a lot of that's a root shock, yeah. And then another thing, of course, is the fact that it's hard initially for women to get a grasp of people ordering you around, getting my food. Should you catch us in I don't know. So it took a while because I felt that, just like you're thinking, I felt we were contemporary. We should do things differently. When it's not. They come in just like their fathers.
Yeah, choice of bazooka now. When they throw it at you, just hold it. Start up there, I'm making.
But then, of course, it's those are the two root shots.
Okay. I just want to be surprised that you are hearing this show. She's not only you. I think the Coco.
For me, I think it's him stopping me from going to my friend's wedding night. I was shocked.
And you walk.
Are you my father? So I cried all throughout the night. Like, why will I not go? Why? What's the problem? So I felt, my father is back home. So it took me a while to understand that, yes, there should be a head. There's somebody I'm answerable to. I must.
Before we get to the national mission, I remember one of the greatest shocks for my wife. She's the first child of her father in a huge family, and family was a big thing to them. And it was Salah. And I said, Jebuya, and she said, eh. And when we got to Jebuya, it was a different Salah for her. At home it's different, all my soil, all my Jesus. And she was like, is this anything the Salah? I said, this is our own Salah here. And she's like, I know, she got to a point, she went to go and cry in her room. So this is my Salah for the rest of my life. And I said, don't worry, you can call it. And I said, don't worry, you can call your parents. So she was on the call with her parents. So, unluckily for her, they were having Salah in their grandparents. So it was a big party. But she lived. We were just 5. And she was like, and I was like, well, you can talk to your management. So I found out national mission and so over to you.
Well, what can I say? For people in my generation, by generation I don't mean Z or any of them.
Before 8.
We were activists. And we took a lot of very stupid risks. I will admit now. Anybody who has been through the MSS system will understand what I'm saying. And that is, we do not have an independent plan. Because by now, I may be free, I may not have any plans of traveling. And by ask, the plan may be that I'll have to be in Maiduguri. So, this was the way we were. Of all my mates, I think I'm one of the last to get married. I didn't marry at 14. I married quite late. And my shock, was after marriage, there was an international Islamic Economic Conference that we had planned earlier. And I had to travel just that same week from Ilorin to Mina, to Zaria, to Kano. That same week that I got married, and I just told my wife I have to travel. And she looked at me as like, are you well? I said, it's MSS now. said, what? Am I married to MSS? I said, I don't mind. If you like, come with me. Now, it's no problem. I said, no, this is not marriage for me. And she said she doesn't think she can survive. I said, but you have to survive. And I thought that because most of my people, my home folks were still around that time, I felt that that was shock number one, that someone who had been very active in MSS herself will now see me after we have enjoyed a week of marriage and she's not yet done. You know, a week now is one week of discovery and exploration. I thought sisters you should have a lot of iman I was shocked that so all of these premarital MSS, you are in the Judah, so it's like it. Shock number two was that especially my father. My father died at the age of 126 in 1991. Wow. Now, I'm just telling you, there's something I want to bring out of it. My father was old, but not that old. So, he was my friend because he was the one who taught me how to say. Well, I'm being very honest. I don't know. Left to me, I would have been unmarried because I don't see myself going to a woman and saying, "What will I say? I want to marry you."
So you should have said, "How far?"
Eh?
How far?
How far? The funny thing is, because I was imam, I used to tell men, young boys that. There is no big deal about proposing to a sister, just saying, Alhamdulillah, you do khutbah al-hajj, after that, I say, sister, wallahi, I want to marry you. And they come back to me and say, each time they say that, the sisters are running. So I met my father and told him, at least, because we shared virtually everything. As old as he was, we were buddies. Alright? We were chat mates. We were gist mates. Like, say, that's the way he used to come. Say, Mala Abdu. He said, how can you marry after a week you are traveling? He said, no, in the next 6 months, I don't want to hear anything about traveling. He said, stay. That is your jihad. There's no jihad in this. People getting tired. So, these are, the kind of things that really shocked me. And I must tell you, each time we remember, we make a joke of it. I say, hey, so all of this, so it's not really. So that was the shock for me.
Kabirullah. Are you having a good time? Aha. So, yeah. I'm going to sleep here. Aha. So.
Okay, so I'm not sure. I don't know, but I've said before you left the other time that seeing you on the field of MSS was a great motivation for me. So I think that is also rubbing off on my marriage. So I don't count things so much. I'll give you 2 shocks. Now, before marriage, my wife told me that she would love to go to the Bar Beach. I said, there's no problem. My parents will take us to Bar Beach and we'll come back. It's a normal thing for us. So, 10 years after marriage, she reminded me. I had not fulfilled it.
10 years.
10 years after marriage.
That's 2 bachelor's degrees and 2 masters.
One no more. Now, before I got married, I had a dream, a lot of dreams. I was going to marry somebody that is light complexion, we are going to give birth to children, we are going to be light complexion, that we will go to Dubai for holiday and things like that. And so first year of marriage, no child, second year, third year, fourth year, and we didn't get our first issue until 10 years after. So this is a shock anyway.
You know, that's against all the movies you watch. Say, as soon as they marry, the next thing they asking you, and you had to wait 10 years. I mean, if you had time, I would have asked how it was, but that would take us time. So, Imam.
No, alhamdulillah, permit me to tender my respect and apology. And I owe all of you that, and not forgive me. What I am owing, I just hope you can overlook, is the amount of time I have kept you people here, multiplied by the number of people here. I think that's the cost of what I have cost you people. And Allah forgive me. I know if I had left very early, maybe I wouldn't have been in the situation. I just felt, I was looking at Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, and I know the situation there. I felt Ekpe should be better. Honestly, here I am from 9 o'clock. So, may Allah forgive me, and I hope you can just overlook.
Will you forgive him? Yes. You understand it's Lagos. 30 minutes can come to 2 hours. Lagos. Don't worry, you understand.
No, may Allah continue to strengthen our Sheikh, the Imam. Allah and Jacob who are we're going to Allah and strengthen all of us. I think if somebody has a father who is on the path of dawah, my case is almost like that of Rahman. And my father will encourage me. Say, what program? Where are you going? He will ask him, how is the week now? Where will you be? So, of course, I married at the age he married. He married at 33. And those programs will come and you say, no, you can't go. You are a new man. And you are now a real man. And you need to let that little girl, she called my wife, you need to let that little girl know that there is a man around for her. So I was completely confused why somebody who would say, this is the time to do this, you need to travel, what are your programs? We now say you have to sit at home, no traveling. So how long would we be with this? As long as we feel only Jekiasiko, that's what my father says. Jekiasiko Bakuwalagui, we be Utimari. Wallah.
Allah. Interesting that, if you look at our generation, I'm quite impressed. Two things that have really impressed me, what I said. One is the bond that they had with their fathers. I hope we still have that bond now. You know, that the bond that we have now is a different bond. You hear the horn. In the street. When you're on top of them, you greet him finish, you go back inside. Because you wait for 10 minutes, he's asking you what you've not done and what you've done. It's also a blessing for those of us that are married to ensure that we also have that bond with our own children. The next shock was you say the community marries for you. I saved the law for marriage. I wish I was born during your time. Every couple then I was saving it. I went for my master's abroad and I came back to marry. Every pound buy an operation. I came to travel, came no man. But I soon retired, he will come. I wish they were married for me, but I'm enjoying the UK. So the next question I'll start from you, sir, is We know that marriage will always have its ups and downs. How do you think is best to manage these things? We know that it's not always an almighty formula. But what do you think can be adopted to manage these disagreements? You will say it's our war, some people will say it's fights. And they're like, my wife were joking about it some months ago. They used to say in the first 1 year, used to have about fight and they used to call family to come help you settle. It's about each day and say, who for my wife? Let's not rush. It will come. Everybody will eat their own. So, how? Talking to people who are married here and those who are about to marry, how do you think they should manage this? And for your answer, if you look at the screen, if you know you want to ask questions but you want to do it anonymously, you don't want to hold the mic, please add this number on WhatsApp. It's on your screen. And send your questions to that number. It will be forwarded to me if you think you don't want to use the mic. So, over to you, sir. Briefly. And after this question, we then open for questions and answers so we can make it more engaging.
Now, like our sister reminded us of that verse of the Quran, that the essence of marriage, جَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Peace is the essence. And you can't end peace without crisis. Islam even came after lots of crisis. And the day we won't be having crisis, that is when there won't be the essence of our life. Islam is not the absence of crimes and whatever, but the ability to survive in the presence, in the face of those things. So as Muslims, if Allah has told us in the Quran, إِنَّمَا عَلَى الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, life is ups and downs. And what is most important is when we are in a marriage, we must know that our backgrounds are completely different. You see, when we meet outside, say, I like you. You have not actually known that woman. And you have not actually known that man. And this is why, when anybody may disagree with me, what we have before we settle down, I don't refer to it as love. What they call love, I don't see it to be love. What I see as love is what relationship forms out for you. It is the relationship that brings out, that builds love. And I so much understand that from especially the discussion of Sayyidina Umar with one of the Sahaba. He met him on the market today. I said, what's your problem? He said, you're not treating your wife well. I said, but I don't love her. He said, must marriages be built on love alone? What about Rahma? So we must understand that we have all come from different backgrounds.
Thank you very much, Imam. So let me start from there. We are different people. There will always be issues. Speak about it. Don't sweep it under the carpet. Oh, you have done this and I think I don't like it. When you keep bottling up, the day they will call you to come and talk, you will talk and everybody will be confused.
Yeah.
But your husband will be confused, your wife will be confused. That so you have all this in your mind and you didn't say it. So as they happen, please always have this conversation. Don't close the door of communication. I want to advise lastly is that we have to be patient with one another. I got married at age 27. My wife was 26. I was already made. The way I talk, the way I eat, the way I walk, the way I sleep, what I watch on TV, what I don't like. She has her own. The two of us coming together, we need to now try to understand one another and see how we can move on. So I say this story. There is this lady that got married in the US to a guy, and in their own house, they used to watch TV till night, till midnight. The husband, it is 9 o'clock. When it is 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, he's going to sleep. but the wife will sit down and watch TV and sleep there. So the husband will wake up in the morning, and he gets annoyed. And it's always a fight. Most of the time, she sleep outside, he sleep in the sitting room with the TV on, and the guy went to a counselor and said, okay, what's the problem? He said, it is the TV. She's wasting money. He said, okay, can you quantify the whole of the units that she will use if she has to watch TV overnight for a month? Not more than $50. He said, can you give someone $50? I said, yes, I can give. So, okay, fine. Give your wife $50. So when he wakes up and he sees her, he will just smile and say, it's $50. The following day, it's $50. 1 month is $50. So the quarrel stopped. Then the woman herself now changed. Now, I read a psychology book that said that it takes the number of years to learn an habit to unlearn the habit. Practically in my marriage, I saw it. Except that, you know, I got married at 27. It was not 27 years. It was just 19 years before the habit broke. But for 19 years, I was doing the same thing my wife kept complaining about. You know? So where am I going? Just be patient with yourself. Look for a way around it. And try to ensure that this small thing will not become a big one. How will you go to your relatives and say that because she watches TV, that is why you are having issues with her? So just try to give her $50 and let it go.
So before I speaks, and you know that sometimes these differences can be very subtle. I am my wife. You know, love one thing, you want to eat in the same place when your wife. We don't do it in our house. Why? Because I grew up eating meat after you're done with food. She grew up eating meat with the food. So if I say I should wait to prepare on leg, the one you call now wait to prepare rice in leg. So till today, you say eat your own. For me to change it, it is hard. For you to change your own, it is hard. So it can be very subtle, just to put that. That's what I'm sure myself.
For me, when I talk about things like this, I can't help but get emotional. And I'll tell you why. My mother died before my 8th birthday. But she had such an influence on me that today, it's like I still perceive her fragrance. A woman who taught me to read and to write, who formed my handwriting, for those of you who know it, and who made me talk the way I'm talking now. The bond was not small and unforgettable. My father, I've told you a bit about him, that he died at 126 in 1991, and he was my everything. My father, my friend, my gist mate, my everything. My father happened to be a very passionate lover. And I'll tell you the story. She never remarried. He never remarried after the death of my mother. Because he can't bring himself to marry another woman. And if you want to excite him, talk about his wife, and you will see him glow. And there is no way he will talk for 10 minutes without mentioning and praying for his wife about 3 times. He will not only mention her name, Yotoki. Then he will say, he will pray for her. Even though, you know, I didn't meet them, I can recollect,
together. But like they say, when he comes up with so this influenced me a great deal. So you can understand, it should really be a defect, because my father was my father and my mother at one and the same time. But I never forget that some of the things that he told me growing up before I got married. I must not forget to also tell you that I was to marry at 14 too, but my father resisted. It was a tradition. When you are 14, 15, neighbors will bring their daughter to your father and say, and you know, Omafa now, Yausara will always come, readily available. There is always a lady that they are eyeing. My father said no. He's still too young, so people were shocked. Too young? And then he sent me to school. That's another shock. Oh my father, when I said I thought I was in primary 1 at the age of 14, some people were shocked. You should not be shocked. I should not even go to school at all. So how do I handle conflicts and some of these things? Allah. One of the easiest things, no tough. One of the easiest things I learned to handle. And how? I've learned from my father that when your wife is angry, you should resist anger. But you must wait until she's calm. And you just find a reason to get angry. But that anger should not be real. Just bring the temperature down and say, so it's my turn now, I got you. Wow. It has been working for me. It still works for me. I must admit it is tough. Secondly, my father taught me, Obedie, Agodie, Liefi Soko Obini. Obedie, Agodie, pé ọkùnrin tó wá sọ pé òun gbọ́n yóò padà fi òun gbọ̀n jóná ìdí àrùn kẹ́yìn obìnrin ṣàfihàn. But women, you know who they are. Allahu Akbar Kabira, Tabarakallah. They will overstretch you physically, emotionally, financially, intellectually, everythingly. But the secret is, don't take them too seriously. I don't mean it negatively. I don't mean it negatively, if you understand what I'm saying. Don't take it too seriously. Some of us are too serious in our marriages. Everything is hard position, fixed position, this position. No, it's not like that. Surprise her. When she expects you to really be mad, go and buy tantalizer. You will leave her transfixed. And sometimes, on very flimsy things, get really annoyed. But don't let it be skin deep, so that you can control yourself. Allah should respect you. I know many of you will not understand how to do this because you are not in control of your emotions. And finally, how do I deal with this? It's funny, but when I get any of them really annoyed, did I say any of them? have my ways. I'll pretend as if I don't know. And sometimes it is deliberate. She will be raging. And I'll say, have you eaten? I hope you are not hungry. Say, it's bad to ease. This is from Shaitan. Please, leave me alone. Say, okay, that's no problem, I'll leave you. But meanwhile, the money you talked about the last time, I'm not telling you because money is ready. But the condition is that you can't frown and take money from me. You have to smile a bit. Say, who is smiling with you? And that's really the end of the story. Sometimes it works. Go and try it.
Does it always work? The money part, does it always work? I'm trying to ask her.
No. Okay. Let me know. I'm not asking for help. But anytime it doesn't work, please run away from it.
So what he said was, the day does not work, we can't keep the concern of what to pay.
It doesn't always work. Okay.
Maybe the man has not got the expertise.
Okay, for me, I feel that for my own marriage and for the marriages I've saved, one thing I start with is, there are just 5 things I go through. Revisiting spirituality, going back to Allah, who is our source of happiness. And one thing is, if you hold something too tight, Allah is going to try you with that thing. If you start to, go too strong or take your spouse as your source of happiness, Allah is going to make him or her disappoint you so that you go back to him. So if you take money as your source of happiness, Allah is going to take it away from you so that you remember him. If you make your child too as your source of happiness, same thing will happen. So I will tell you, revisit your own spirituality, go back to Allah, do lots of istighfar. Then, as a counselor, the next thing is communication. I believe most of the problems in marriage are as a result of inability to communicate well or non-communication. If there is an issue, you must talk. And the way you say it is another problem. If you are being insultive, blaming, arguing, always defending yourself, then nothing is going to be resolved. Even if the issue is around sex, money, in-laws, whatever it is, it's your ability to communicate empathically, knowing fully well that the other party is not just out to get you. Understanding why. There's a difference between understanding and accepting. I may try to understand my husband, not necessarily accepting his position, just for me to get to him. Agree first. When you agree, you can now say your point of view. So ability to communicate your needs matters a lot. If not, you keep on going around circles of criticism, defending, contempt, and silent treatment. So there are also some people that don't talk. When they have issues in their marriage, they would rather keep silent and, keep grudges. They won't talk to their husbands or wife for months. So if your spouse comes to you that there is an issue, you must be ready to talk. Don't shout, don't sweep it under the carpet, don't scream. Be ready to listen, even if it is painful to listen to someone criticizing you. Try to understand that this was the person you choose, this is the person Allah has covered for you, has destined for you. He or she is not out to harm you. When you go from that aspect, you will be calm enough to listen. Then after listening, you have to be empathic. As I said, you don't need to agree. You don't need to like what your spouse likes before you support him or her. You don't need to like it. You don't need, so far that thing is not haram. It makes your spouse happy, allow it. And after that, there is a compromise. If this thing is affecting our union, then we have to meet at a particular point. So we have to forgo some things. I will forgo some, you have to also forgo some. Then lastly, you have to then learn how to be patient. There are some problems that will never go. It's not all marital problems that can be solved, but they can be minimized and understood. So if you go through these 5 steps, I believe you have a happy marriage. Then another thing is appreciation. You know, we love to be appreciated. And one way to save a marriage that is even at the verge of broken is appreciation. Even if someone comes to me, oh, my husband, I believe is now a devil. Come back. What is one good thing that this man is still doing with this marriage? What is one good thing that this woman is still doing? But in marriage, we tend to focus on the negatives. And when you focus on the negative, it's only negativity you shall see. If you focus on the positive, it will now minimize that negativity. So let's learn to appreciate each other. Appreciate your wife for cooking. Appreciate your husband for bringing the money to cook. It's not easy. Appreciate each other for pleasing each other even in the bedroom. When you appreciate me, I would like to do more. Just like Allah said, "For in shakartum fa'azizannakum." So when you appreciate someone, they will be able to do more. But you come home, you don't appreciate your spouse, she cooks, or he goes out and come back 10 p.m. and bring little money, all you do is to squeeze your face. There is no motivation to do more. But if the little you are getting, you appreciate, he or she will be happy to do more. If you appreciate my food today, I will be happy to go extra miles to cook for you anything you want. But if all I get from you is criticism and comparing me with other people, then I won't have the motivation to compromise. I won't have that motivation to even empathize. Rather, it will now be competition. You know when you enters marriage, you know Wala has started. It will now be you. But if you appreciate me, I will also look for something to appreciate in you. So appreciation is very, very important. I think with these 5 or 6 steps, if you continually revisit them, starting from spirituality, going back to Allah, doing a lot of istighfar, then again communication, whatever it is, just first of all, write a letter to your spouse. Read it the way. There are some people that are very critical. Read it the way your wife, you know your wife. If I write it this way, if I say it this way, you know she'll get defensive. Read it in an empathic manner. There is a book I would recommend for communication. It's called Non-Violent Communication. And if you read it, it's a communication based on compassion, where you don't insult people to get them on your side. So when you do that, I'll be more, the wife will be, the husband will be more willing to be on your side. Take for example now, a woman that complains of love in her marriage. And another thing in communication, sorry before I forget, is the ability to even say what you want and know what you want. I see couples say, she doesn't respect me. What is respect? How a wife should respect a husband. What does respect mean to you? To my own husband, respect to him means that if he's shouting, I should not shout, and if we are eating, after eating, we should all thank him. Every other thing is okay. So after we eat, we all scream, It's very funny, but it works for us. Every other, since I started doing that all the time, and when he's angry, I'll just be looking. You don't even say sorry to my husband because he's angry, you'll not be saying sorry. Sorry for what? You will take Jack too. So you need to understand how hate all this. So when he's angry, I'll just be looking. He'll not ask, why are you looking? I say, okay, I'll face him. After everything, and once he calms down, I will not say anything. I will now go to my room. I will not talk. What are you doing in the room? What are you doing in the room? He will now come and say, hey, is it that little thing? You know, it's enjoyable when someone screams and come and beg you again. It's very enjoyable, but it takes serious ability, emotional intelligence not to respond. It takes serious, nurturing of the emotion not to react. Immediately he's accusing you, especially when he's accusing you of something you didn't do. You want to quickly jump and say, no, I'm not the one. Please, silence helps at that moment when the temper is high. Just be quiet for a while, especially us women. We don't keep quiet. We talk, then the next thing, and even if I don't support violence, at the same time, let us always also learn how to control our tongue. We talk more than men. We can insult more than them. And they are physically built, and they think shutting us up physically is what is the answer. No. So for my brothers, when you know your wife is, getting out of hand, she's screaming, I think it takes maturity for you to walk out of the room. Just go out for a fresh air and calm down. When you calm down, you'll be able to control your anger. You don't have to be there, you don't have to respond to her. Just take that. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence to go out. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less of a man. So if you can do that, I think your marriage will be successful.
Thank you very much, Zakumwa Karen.
The marriage is such a wonderful space, and anywhere there's human beings, there's going to be conflicts. How much more someone you sleep with every day, you wake up with, it's natural to have conflicts. But the best of those who handle conflicts, as they have all said, are those who are patient. But the thing that I've seen in marriages is that we love our spouses the way we believe they should be loved, not the way they think they should be loved. Right? See, I love my husband, so these are the things I feel I should be doing. And he's thinking, God, what's this? So the first thing to put conflict at bay, right, is to love people the way they want to be loved. My sister said, I respect my husband the way he wants me to respect him. Right? Not if I call my husband by name, it is nothing to him. Right? But there's some things you do to him that it counts as complete disrespect. Conflicts in marriages, like everybody has said, I just want to beat about the bush. But I'll just give you a story of a couple. There was so much in love, but everything just died out of not speaking. Conflict leads to apathy. There was apathy in the home. So when the husband comes home, they have a dog. When the husband comes home, right, and the moment he parks and gets out of the car, in fact, the moment he comes in, the dog is already wagging his tail, on the other side, meaning that inside, waiting for his master to open the door, wagging his tail, very happy, And then the moment the man opens the door, the dog just jumps all over him. And then the man walks into the sitting room, cuddles the dog, they watch TV a bit, and he goes to the kitchen, picks something, still cuddling the dog. After meals, he goes upstairs and he sleeps. Remember, his wife is at home. It's just that conflict has led to apathy, and that apathy has drifted them apart. So it went on for so long, and they had to go to a therapist. And the woman said, if he can just love me like he loves this dog, would I not be happy? And the woman said, why don't you just do to him like this dog does to him, and let's see what happens. So they said, we'll give it a try. And then off they went home, and then the next day, of course, the husband was thinking, God, what's going to happen today? And of course, they opened the door, and his wife was there, kissing him from head to toe. Right? they went, normally it would be the dog. The dog was like, you understand? So they both went to the system. She did exactly like the dog does, and he also did exactly like love done to the dog. So they sit down together, they will cuddle. This is what he does to the dog. I mean, watch TV a bit, and he said, "You want to eat something, so let's do it." This went on for just about a week. They forgot about what caused the conflict in the first instance. So we will learn a lot from animals. Believe me. You see the way animals do, they are truthful, right? To their emotions, they don't lie. So if there's some things, you're just so confused about, I think you should go to the zoo. But then, on a lighter mode, honestly, a lot of things has been said that I cannot even, try to build on. Experiences are the best teachers. And just like our father said, this anger thing, but in every marriage, we have dominant partners. Do you know that? Yeah. Sometimes it's the husband that is the dominant partner, and sometimes it's the wife. Not because the man is stupid. Our Imam has said that if you want to handle the husband, you have to have a bit of ego and what? And a bit of wisdom. You can't have it all, right? If you let your ego, go over, right? It means that you let the woman be dominant. It is not a bad thing. Believe me. It is just knowing when to keep your wisdom at the right time and bring her down. It is actually nothing, there's not actually nothing bad in your wife being the dominant. You have to understand that in any relationship, there's always a dominant person. Don't feel bad that your wife is a dominant person. Don't let somebody come out from outside and tell you, what's your idea? You know what she wants. You know how to handle her. The main thing is knowing how to handle yourselves so that there will be no conflict. Another thing that causes conflict a lot is people from outside viewing the relationship you have with each other and giving you antidotes or telling you you're not doing well enough or telling you you're doing too little. So if you do that, what happens is that your marriage might eventually crash. May Allah continue to bless each and every one of us.
Ameen. Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Kabirullah. Okay, so let's go to the audience now and let's take questions before we let's go back. Okay.
I just want to add two things. One she was quoted, that is so called me, but there's another thing I want us to take home. One day will be to buy no be your call. Will be real project. Will be to buy no be your call. Will be real project. To buy be your call. Will be real project. Now the second thing that I want to quickly address, when I talk about money, it is not money for the sake of money. No. There is always an entry point, something to break the ice. And I trust at all times, depending on your skills, if you throw it at the woman, she will throw it back at you. That's not the way to do it. But there is a way to do it that it will break the ice, provided you're not in the habit of taking the woman for granted. So, because there are so many young people here, just because, everybody, bam! As you do bam, she will also do bam for you. That will be the end of it. If you do it right, it's a skill that you can learn in such a way that our honor and self-respect will be preserved. Yes, this is very, very important. It is not, in a brutish and arrogant manner. No, it won't work like that. And finally, I think the aggregate of all these experiences should really enrich us as individuals. No two marriages are exactly the same. Discover what works for you. Sometimes you discover what works for you through trial, you know, and error you will discover in the course of time. It is not something that will work overnight. Proof all this is if you are not married to a toxic person. All of this will not work. It will not work at all. If you have a woman that is toxic, Lord Samuel. If you have an impossible man, well, there is nothing you can do because he will see everything you have done, you know, negatively. She told us the story of the dog, you know, and the couple. And the wife suddenly just changing to be like dog, you know, to behave the loving way the dog behaves. That's because the man is not toxic. If the man is saying, hey, put your bank and tell the coffee, you only walk, you run, you walk, you go walk, you run. You know, and that will be the end of it. So, I mean, toxicity is a totally different issue, and it has a totally different way to deal with it in a relationship. The important thing is we all have a dose of it. But if your own is beyond acceptable level, ask yourself, nobody, everything that another person is praying for is what you have, and you are still complaining, you are not happy. Women, I'm sorry, I have a lot of respect for women, but sometimes your tones are too sharp. And sometimes, I study communication. Sometimes you are talking, you are not communicating at all. You put a lot of entropy, and the process is very redundant. You are talking at your husband, and you want understanding, you want peace. No, it's not going to work. So this seminar will only be useful if you extray yourself on the basis of what the panelists have said and see where you need to adjust. I'm talking about the person that is dominant. It cannot be a one-way traffic. If you cannot learn, if you cannot humble yourself, if you cannot, as if you are a woman, you are women now, you have women power. There is a way it works. What she has told us, so many of you cannot say, you make a nonsense. Jazakallah Baba for what? You know, the common for harmony, and then you will not get peace. That's what it means. So what do you lose? Sometimes some women are so caustic when they talk to their husband. It's not going to work. The most docile man in the world will not take such insult forever. Because your wife is submissive, you want to give her trash all the time. Even the sheep bites. So we must measure and we must remember what brought us together is the promise of, love, finding peace. We want to live together so that we have peace. So you cover, and no one is perfect. No man is perfect. And some of you snore so badly, and your wife will not complain, even though you will not allow her to sleep. You will not know that she's covering for you. And it is only when she does something that you will. And of course, I think you should help in the house once in a while. Anyway, some of you cannot boil water. Anyway, you don't know what it means to bring water to boil. You can't boil ordinary water. Boil. make coffee. You can't do it. And I think it's also important to appreciate one another. You must appreciate. After the sunnah, leave a note, under the pillow. And leave an envelope once in a while. It works. It's not for the money, but at least, right when some of them like for you to do their oriki. Yes. Who doesn't like that? Huh? Who will not feel on top of the world? Where everything just look, and when it comes to this marriage business, sometimes even the mufti of the world doesn't think about hadith. Wallah, I'm telling you, it's very easy to say, be spiritual, be prayer, be. When it comes to this marriage business, illa man rahimahullah, you don't remember verse of the Quran, you don't remember hadith. In fact, if you are not careful, you even make out to offend Allah and the Prophet. When you say, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Rasul, my foot, please go away. What is the Rasul? Rasul did, you think the way Rasul will do. So please, let's be realistic. Let's take something useful home. When you get home, if your wife, because I know the other time you were saying, who wants to take another wife? Your wife is not here. Your wife is not here. That's why there is nothing. If the wife is here, sure, who wants you? So, please, you'll be happy, eh? We will support you. You will not marry another wife now. Abi? The baseline is please. It is not everything that you should take serious. Joke, laugh, play. Relax. Don't no. Relax. Forget there's no difference. You are friends, Abi. You are colleagues. Take turns to do some things once in a while. I'm not saying you should forget your authority. Abi? Abi ever? But use it sparingly. Use it sparingly. I have come to discover that the greatest of the problems that we have in marriage are some of the things you say and you don't mean. And some of the things you mean that you don't see. So be compassionate. Hey, what? You like it? And I know some of you, our sisters, you keep diaries of 10 years. When he does anything, you go and lock yourself in the room and write it. Today is 27th of August 2022. And you write pages. In fact, some of you will even write it on Facebook. And they will bring memories. There's some men, they like to snore. And it is your husband that is snoring. You didn't tell him. He will read it. And you say, okay. You tell him, the one who he brought me to all this nonsense. I say, you mean nonsense? Nonsense. Let's make things very easy for one another. This is the baseline. Go back home and let your husband know that you attended a seminar and it impacts on your life. Go back home and let your wife know that you attended a seminar and you are now a different person. Brand somewhere, buy something good and sweet and beautiful. And if you are not in the habit of hugging to welcome, and of course I know some of you will go back home if you want to hug your wife will be like, is welcome into a day?
You know, there is no better way to spend this day like this. There is no better way. And for someone like me, there is no better place. On my anniversary, there is no better place. On behalf of everybody here, we say thank you. You know, if you're going to pay for this kind of thing, you know how much we can pay. To bring them to come and sit down and spend the afternoon with you is no job. People pay in thousands of naira and dollars to have this moment. And here we have it. So at this time, we take questions. If you have questions, please raise your hand. The mic will go around.
Please, Mao is not question. It's just to add a little thing to what they've been hearing. I just want to let you have this opportunity of what I have to say. There is one of my sisters. She was about to marry, and she came to meet her husband. And this sister is a daughter of a cousin, very rich father. Then I told her, you want to marry. Tell me what your brother can do for you that you will not forgive him. If you offend you, what is the offense? She was just looking though. She doesn't want a enticing husband. I said, that's beautiful. Then I told you, you are from a rich house, very, very rich house. But when you are getting married, 3 things you have to drop before going to marriage. If your husband is a classmate of yours, you attended the same school, you even senior him in class, you have more degree than him, the minute you step into his house, it's a boss. Forget not calling the name again, because man want to command respect. Now you drop all these 3 things. First, drop that I'm from rich house. I'm the son and daughter of Dangote. I'm the daughter of Roba. I'm beautiful. All those things should be dropped in your house. You want to live in that very peacefully.
Thank you very much, sir.
Dr. Akim, we only allowed him because he has 50 years experience.
50 years experience. So he's not the 50 for you.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. And
If you don't have up to 50 years experience, 10 seconds.
Once again, you don't have to tell the panelists, you have 10 for you.
Your time starts now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. 2 seconds, come.
I will not elaborate, I'll just need further explanation or further discussion. The extent, number 1, the extent to which a wife can flex her rights. Number 2, silent competition amongst couples. Number 3, unknown presence of inferiority complex from either partner. Number 4, boss-servant relationship from the husband.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry. This is really important. The decision or choice of clothes that the wife should wear after she has dressed, or after she's dressed and then the husband is like, he probably doesn't like it. That is one. I just have to, I'm sorry. The things that she likes, but he does not like, and then things that he wants to buy. And he has mentioned it. And the third, restrictions as per the questions that she can ask. The boundaries, the unseen boundaries set by the husband. Thank you.
Wow. I hope those questions were captured. You know, are you a lecturer? If you like this question, 1A, A1, A11. Next question, 10 seconds.
Number 2.
Number 2, so whose question already being asked?
Yes, this 3.
So, who is the next person? 10 seconds. 2 questions.
My question is, I want to know more about the Islamic perspective on the use of cutleries, I think using both right and left hand to eat.
Okay, right and left hand to eat. Thank you. 2 questions maximum.
I just want to ask, why does men wait? Like, they know they want to get married to second wife and they'll be like, why can't they marry the 2 together?
It's like some man that doesn't want to get why would I get some man in our country? That I don't know what's in the back for. Exactly. Not the master of the government. Number 3.
I think my question is for the parents that has grown-up children. Why do our parents do say to the females that you have to finish your education in my house before I release you for marriage, and the ladies about 26, 27?
Okay, that's about timing of marriage. Why do they say
Assalamu alaikum. My question is about the ruling of Islam on limiting the number of child or children to give birth to. Is there any ruling on Islam on that?
Well, there's an economic ruling that is somewhere here. Yeah. You got the one you can take them home. Okay, the next one. So we are number 8, Sadi.
Number 6. My question is, Imam Ahmad was saying marriage is an empty book. Whatever you write on it is what you get. Is it safe to say when you want to get married, you don't look for love, you don't look for the physical structure of the lady, you just go into marriage and expect whatever comes out of it?
Okay. I'm sure that's not what he said. You meant it regarding expectations. You remove everything that you think you know and going as a plain mind. Not that you just went to the market and not pick one person and say, because it's a plain book, yeah, JTL.
Assalamualaikum.
Sorry, before that question, I think one of us, if you know your bed number, please, this guy is blocking someone and the person is already causing a scene downstairs. If this is your car, please gently go down and repark, please. If this is your car, quietly go out and repark. And this also in learning, please know your bed number too. Because you can be saying it's not your own and it's your own. Okay, next question.
Assalamualaikum. What is it says about single mothers?
Married single mothers?
Married single mothers.
Okay.
What is your advice to those who want to get married to another man?
To another man.
What is the state of our beloved prophets about single parents?
Okay.
And what is your advice to those who want to get married to another man?
Okay. I hope the question is clear.
After the mother being a single mother,
a
single parent for a while.
Okay. So we are number what? Please, if you know if they didn't come to you, please.
Talking about
you are closer to the speaker, that's why. Yes.
Okay, talking about love languages, for someone whose love language is gifting or quality time, and the husband probably works, he does a job where he has to be, 100% present at the office, and the wife is not getting the quality time, which is her own love language, or he doesn't have enough money to do the gifting, which is her own love language. In cases like that, does that mean such marriage cannot work, or what is best possible thing to do to solve stuff like that?
Okay. That is also a question for sisters who want to marry people that have money. Poor men have time. We know. The less of the money you have, the more time you have.
Yeah, so now I want to ask, what is the decision, or what can we say about parents who advise our child to marry someone who he or she is not always married? Like all those kind of things,
Arranged marriage?
Yes, be like,
okay.
Fair, only fair. And number 2 again is that, what's the Islamic perspective on marrying someone that is not in our religion?
Okay, marrying someone that is not a Muslim. Okay.
Of a man who have an interest in a woman, and she's saying that until she until she get all her ambition. She achieved all her ambition before getting married.
Okay.
Please, what is the question?
So how do you handle that kind of sister? Is this a personal question? It's about. This is the second time the question is going on.
So I want to ask you a question: at what level in marriage can a man decide to take a second wife without any the marriage is not having a problem? Or I want to ask, must marriage have a problem
before you take
now be looking for solution in marriage second wife, or there is a time in marriage at which you believe that I can go for a second one?
I'm sure yes. That question is almost all the bonus question. We are all praying for you. Say, Carly, you've asked for us. Final question. Final question.
My question is related to the first question you asked the panelists. Said, when can someone get married? So if a young man actually see himself as somebody who is ready to get married, and the parents actually have a contrary opinion, you know how parents are. So because probably he's too young and all, how can he handle that situation? Like convincing them without, you know, come out with that yeah.
Okay. So the question is, the person thinks he's ready, but the parents say no. Okay. Okay. So I think we've had anonymous. The ones that have presence, they are like 15 already. So I have anonymous already. So can I have the questions now? Yeah, let us answer all of this. Then we can then take the anonymous if. Okay, so the first question on my end, please give the panelists the mic, is. Okay, so this is the decision of the choice of clothes that she should wear, even after she's well dressed. Yeah, so I think it's in 4 parts. First one is choice of clothes. Second is when you like to buy something for your spouse, and then you might end up even buying your own things, but you think you have to continue buying it. Then restrictions regarding boundaries on questions you can ask your spouse. So those are the 3 questions here. Okay.
Well, my sister here mentioned some things. You know, the first thing before marriage, we always encourage you to have a marriage counseling. It is very, very important because you're going in blind into something. When you go in blind, and then when you enter, you now put on the lights. You know, and then, you know, marriage is like, the door is half closed. We're in a society where our parents do not even want you to get divorced when there's no abuse, physical abuse. They do not see mental abuse, right? They only, you know, perhaps will identify with physical abuse. So the first thing, you know, she said earlier on is that when you do counseling, some of these questions will come to bear. Now let us now remove that. Counseling was not done, now you're in. What am I going to do? Now you need a post-marriage counseling. There's something called a post-marriage counseling, meaning that, well, the deed has been done, we don't want to leave each other, but these are the issues. Now you might meet a brick wall if you have a very strong-willed man that feels that whatever I say in this house is law. We're not going to end what is wrong with us, we're good as it is, and you're just being the one being funny. You might have a lot of problems. You might need to look for people that he respects the laws, right? And you must tender those issues in a way that does not completely slight him. You have to be very gentle, because if he's a highly opinionated person, he will not listen to them. He will not, because what we want to do now is damage control. If you talk about the clothes you wear, because I can see this person as being very controlling. You know, I've seen men that they will not tell that they want you to be a Kobe before you get married, but the moment you get married, one week by, and you have no choice. You know, the reason why we always encourage, especially in this time and age, we always encourage that you ask questions. You know, because you're going in blind, like I said. When I say blind, it's in quotes. You know, so it's very important that for now, does he have a right to tell you the clothes to wear? Your husband is the leader, he has the right, and that's why we say, marry the person that will listen to you and will listen, and you listen to as well. It's a two-way thing. But remember, there's a leader in this ship. So if he insists that this is what you want, it is your job to look for ways to make it come down. I don't know how we can do this except for a bit of counseling, because really, when you take this to family members, it doesn't always work. It makes it worse. You know, especially when you see families that are lying within, then that means your life is going to be depends on which goal. Exactly, especially when it's a breadwinner, right? I've counseled someone, you know, they came to me, and this was even pre-marriage counseling, you know, and you know, I was asking questions, and the woman said, see, he's a bit, he's abusive and everything. I said, abusive, what do you mean by abusive? He said, he verbally abuses me. I said, how? He said, okay, fine. When we were coming down, I said, wait, I told you okay. What do you know? No, you didn't say that. He said he did. And the man was there, he said, yes, I did. So the first thing I asked is, are you the first child? Are you the breadwinner of the whole of your family? You know, and the answers were yes. You know, so it precludes that he has been taking care of some people and has been, you know, telling people what to do all his life. So when you come in, you're just one of them. You know, so it is very important at this stage, if these are the problems that I highlighted, it cannot be, we cannot solve it here. But I can tell you for sure that the councillors here, I can take the numbers, and if it's willing, I really wish you would will, you know, for you to have, you know, this, 1 or 2 sessions with them.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we'll go to the next question, which is, it appeared multiple times, and it's about the right time to take a second wife. Yeah, so let's give it to, yeah.
The right time is our woman day. A woman. Okay? How do I translate our woman day? Yeah. You see, generally speaking, taking a second wife is in the realm of permission. It is not an injunction. Number 2, I don't believe that women are problems, or marriage is a problem. But you don't take another wife because you are having a problem with the first one. You are complicating your problem. And chances are that it's going to get worse. So take it first and foremost, because it is not that you feel energized and you feel one woman is not enough. I don't always buy the arguments. It's because I don't want to do zina. You can do zina anytime, anyhow. Because it comes with tremendous amount of responsibility. Not only physical, not only financial, emotional, spiritual. A lot of responsibility. So weigh your options, be honest with yourself, be sincere with yourself and the person you are going to marry, the additional person. The default advice is take your time, look before you leave, don't jump from the proverbial frying pan to fire. It is not, and it must not be because you want to express yourself, you want to prove your sexual prowess. You can handle 4 women at one and at the same time. I think if that is the motivation, it is a wrong motivation. It is not even supported by the deen. When it is that if you cannot find enough money to maintain a woman, the Prophet's advice is you should keep yourself, chaste by fasting. So if you have one wife and you are not satisfied, please continue to fast. That will do you. More so, we are in a very terrible situation. When our brothers today will marry 2 sisters and they will be dating 2 two at the same time. And they will even say it is not haram to marry two women on the same day, on the same occasion. Ah, no, sir, they also want to me. So please, if you don't have enough money, let me break it down. You don't have enough money to provide decent housing for yourself and the wife you are currently married to. And for the one that you are bringing, the minimum is you have enough money to give a 2-bedroom flat in a decent place, not somewhere in the wire. I'm sorry, where they call that? You know, now you have sufficient emotional latitude to take bashing. You are sufficiently elastic so that they bash you here, bash you there. You will not look at yourself and cry. So, and you can cope with different sets of in-laws. One very domineering, the other very understanding. Or if you are lucky, both of one very domineering, the other very troublesome. You will see your life outside very soon. So, my default advice, please fix the problematic marriage. One is enough for you. Be sure that you are enough, you are more than enough for one before you even think of it. Otherwise, it is going to end in disaster. Well, Iyazu Billah is not just going to be for the person who ventured into it, but for the person who, those people you brought into it. And if perhaps there is a child or children, you are putting them in very serious trouble. So please, so many of our young men, if we want to be honest with ourselves, if there is a quarter woman, I'm not saying one, if you can divide one woman into 4, they are not even qualified to marry 1/4, not to talk of 2. Emotionally, they do not have the maturity. Financially, they don't have the capacity. Physically, So what are you talking about?
Okay, if I may add, so this is the second question which I'd like to clarify, which was a question on when you now, why does it mean that one woman lived with you in facing and slapping, then you left her there receiving money in their bank? When you now have money to go to 3-bedroom flat, you now quickly take a second one. She first wife, you the 3-bedroom flat, because it also goes to the fact that you said you have to be financially ready. But it's also painful that the first time has to go through that phase with you.
I don't see it that way. Though for me, the default is buying one. But if you think you are more than one, there are certain financial, physical, emotional, spiritual, and even intellectual requirements you acquire these sometimes with time. As at the time I'm getting married, if you want to kill me, tell me that I should marry more than one. Because that time, truth is, I'm not too sure that I was qualified to marry half of a woman. I had to convince myself. And before I gained confidence that, yes, I'm also close to being a man, it took me so many years. If you want to be honest, So it's not practical. Okay, tó bá kú fẹ́fẹ́ wa, èmi tó pé mo bá jìyà mo bá jìṣẹ́, ìgbà tó wá dé, níta ẹ̀ka tó bá dùn, ó wá gbé ọmọ ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ sótò sókè wá, yóò mọ̀ wá lé. It doesn't exactly work like that. My advice for men is just fear Allah. Don't bring a woman into the system to make her feel miserable. And if you don't have sufficient maturity to relatively even ground, relatively even, nothing can be absolute. And don't bring another woman. If you want to bring another woman, make sure you provide and you make them. No, you can never make a woman sufficiently happy when it comes to that. Mind. Mind. I don't mind, won't mind, share mind. But then you are alone. They were realistic. They were realistic. You know, there's a basic family plan. And the police of law. Best in a planning. Best in a man planning. If you're down. Ẹ̀sìn ọ̀tako ká plan ká space family wa children wa ó kàn rọ́ṣẹ̀ pàpàpàpà láàrin ọdún mẹ́rin ó ti bí mẹ́fà. Honestly, in 4 years you can have 6. Every year ló ní kí ìyàwó rẹ̀ máa bímọ obìnrin náà ti wà worn out. Gbogbo wa ló ń tẹ́ ẹ̀ tó wà lè gbọ́ bá fẹ́ àwọn ìlọ́fẹ́ yọ jẹ́ láti sí ọ̀la. So please, Islam allows for us to space children, to plan our family, to have the number of children that we can adequately cater for. It is true that the Prophet Islam said we should marry and have children because he wants to take pride in our number on the day of judgment. But the Prophet ﷺ did not say we should just procreate for Christians to evangelize, or we should continue to supply area boys and hoodlums. That we must be responsible, that we must take care of them. This is Islam. I'm not even talking about population control, production. No. Whatever you can adequately take care of, feed, educate, accommodate, have them. It is not that you are in 1-bedroom apartment. You know what you call that? Self-contained. You know what self-contained is? Room and parlor. And kitchen and toilets is attached to either the room or the parlor. Even this is not even decent enough for one man, one wife. And you are bringing 2 women. And the children will be sleeping under the bed. When you think they have slept, and you draw the curtain, that's when they wake up, they say, action don't start. Please don't do this. Assalamu alaikum.
So our question is the ruling of when a single mother can marry. Is she allowed to even remarry and get a husband? And are men also allowed to have a hand in marriage? Please let us join this to National Mission. He wasn't invited as a panelist, he was invited as a guest speaker, and to have left about 3 hours ago, but he had to wait for the love that he has for us. May Allah reward you abundantly. So the question on the ruling of marrying a single mother, is it right? And can even the single mother decide to say, I want to marry now, I want to get married again. Can I go out and look for someone?
if I understand that question, there is no time, whether single mother or a widow or a divorcee, whatever name you give to it, there is no time a woman can not marry. There is no age limit to marriage. You see, when we look at marriage from one singular angle, we think there is an age, there's a particular age a woman does not need a husband again. Of all the justifications for marriage, procreation is just one. And it's not even the main thing, just like our sister mentioned the other time I came in. If children must be part of the result of a marriage, Nana Aisha would have a child of her own. So, sometimes one of the most important things in marriage is companionship. And there is no time in the life of a woman that she does not need a companion. In some countries, you see a woman of 70-something years getting remarried. It is not for intimacy, but there are lots more. Security, companionship, a lot of it that a woman requires. So, if I understand that question, there is never a limit to the time. There is no time a woman cannot remarry.
Thank you very much. Do you want to add anything to the question on the second wife and the timing and the next?
Second wife timing, the man have turned on the translation for that.
Okay, so okay, you want to add to that? Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. As for the sister that want to, the single mother, you want to go into marriage again. From the aspect I got, what is our advice for you? You know you may have children or you may not have children. And now you and your children are going to marry another man. You need to ask questions. With the children, who is going to take care of the children? Because if you are expecting that he is going to take care of those children, it may not happen. Will he even allow you to take your children with you? You have to discuss all this. Don't just assume love will make him love you and love your children. There might be the same reason why the second marriage we break again. Then you have to ask about accommodation. Because I know some brothers now, once they want to go into polygyny, they will come and say they want a sister that is working. They don't want a liability. Or you have a minimum or maximum number of children the sister must have before they take her as a second wife. Or if I marry you, you have to, take care of your own accommodation. Please, I've seen a lot of clients like that. Ask questions. Who is going to take care of my accommodation? Now, when it comes to medicals, some company provide NHIS for family. Are you going to be included? Is he going to take care of your medicals? Who is going to do that? Even if some of these things, some people are going to bring some writings from scholars that they are not responsible for the medical, whatever of the second wife. So a lot of single mothers will suffer. And please, even if you are a single mother through widowhood or through divorce, you are still a strong woman, you are still a complete Muslim woman. Because of that, don't lower your own standard. Please, you are not a second hand for any reason. Don't go into a marriage where you'll be mashed upon, you'll be mistreated, you'll just be used as a sexual gratification. So you need to, the same thing that applies to any other marriage, go through yourself and make sure you respect yourself so that you will be respected. If not, you will be treated like a second-hand wife. So that's what normally happens when you end up leaving that marriage again. So please ask those questions. Go through all the premarital, whatever we have been saying here, go through them. It also applies to first, second, or third marriage. Even if you are divorced 3 men, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make you less of a Muslim woman.
Okay, so let us give you a question to answer here. And that's the question on compatibility of love language. You're a woman that likes to be showered with gifts. You're married to a man who doesn't take it as anything. Or even when he has the money, he doesn't see it as much as buy it for you. How do you handle that? When there is incompatibility of love languages?
Well, if there is incompatibility of love language, I'll start from communicating what you want. You know, as I think I missed that point, I wanted to explain it, but the time was short. If you say you don't, some people take their love language as meaning you don't love me. When you have different love languages and you show your love language through, okay, for example, now I love to be showered with gifts, my husband loves the act of sex, he likes me to do things for him. Then I'll be showering my husband with gifts. Now that is not his love language. So it's not only from you, you have to also study what he wants. Be the change you want in your own marriage. There is a reason why there is a block. Have that conversation. This is what I want you to do. Okay, I want you to touch me like this, I want you to touch me like that. And word your language very well in a respectful manner. And also make sure you are also taking him into consideration. Are you fulfilling his own rights? Most times, couples stop doing things for each other when they feel you don't respect me, you don't want to do things for me, so I will not do for you too. So, from your own end, are you also showing him, are you also respecting him the way he wants to be respected? Show him his own love language and in return, tell him, you see how, okay, you want me to cook a goosey soup for you, I've done it, you see how happy you are now. The same thing I'm asking from you. I want it's just very simple. Even if it is 100 naira orange, when you are coming back from work, buy it for me. You must not have all the money in the world before you can show me love. So start, be the change you want. Start by pleasing your husband. Start by appreciating him. Appreciation will likely works wonders. Appreciate the little things that are supposed to be your husband's responsibility. Start from yourself. When you have now become a good wife, you have now shown your husband love the way he wants to be shown. I think if you now have a discussion with him and say, my husband, you said I should do this, I've been doing it. You said I should do that, I've been doing it. This is what I want from you. Bare minimum, I think he should be able to do it. Except, as our Sheikh said, if you are married to some toxic personality, like narcissism, paranoid personality disorder, and the likes. If you are married to people like that, they keep moving the goalposts. If you do one thing, they want you to do another. They are never satisfied and they keep complaining. But for an average man, that should do, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, Dr. Sulaiman Ogunmiwa, the next questions are for you. And I'm asking you this because you're a scholar, you're an academic, your career has been judiciously examined. And that is the question on waiting to complete your academic pursuits before you decide to get married, either as a decision of the individual themselves or a parental influence. So the question about your sister saying, take my PhD, don't talk to me. Or the parents saying, until she's done with her graduation, don't bother coming to us on her. What's the way and what should be done?
Okay, so let me start from the parental perspective. Parents are really labeled on their children and they want the best for them. And what they think is their responsibility is that they give you enough education, then release you to your husband. If that is their intention, personally I don't see anything that is wrong with that. However, if you have some other reasons, you are pressured by some other factors, and you really want to get married, it is not haram, it is not wrong. Just make sure you go through the right approach. Get people to talk to your parents and give them that Is it confidence or assurance? Assurance, because parents will listen to one another. They see a lot of things, and they have been hearing stories of somebody who got married to another person while in school, and at the end of the day, she wouldn't complete her education. So we have to look at it from both ways. Questions like this are better addressed when in our opportunity of having a session with this person that is concerned, so that it can be brought to the awareness. You are taking the decision. You need to understand what decision you are taking and the consequences for each one of them. If you do what you don't want your parents to do, then you are losing your family support. Anything can happen in that marriage. You need family support to survive. If you have any issue in your marriage, nobody will accept you, only your family will do. So, but if the process you are taking when you are going into that marriage, you didn't consider them, then they will not consider you. So you have to be very careful about striking a balance in between the two. Islam did not say you must complete your education in terms of university education before you go into marriage, and it does not even make it a condition. And nothing also says that you can't complete your education before you go into marriage. It's an individual thing which you have to really look at. Okay, so if your parents are not disturbing you, it's just a personal thing. Like Mrs. Labion said, as a woman, as a lady, you must have your goals and your mission and your core values. You don't let people push you around. There is no time in your plan for you to get married. Don't get carried away. It is like a hot soup. If you rush to take it, you will get your tongue burnt. And at the end of the day, when the stew now cools down, you will take it and you will not enjoy it. So be sure that you are ready to marry. If you want to go into it while in school, so be it. Even before going to school, so be it. And if it's going to be after school, so be it. Each one of these things have their consequences. In counseling, you are taking informed decision. If you want to wait till this particular time, and at that time suitors don't come, or gives you the assurance that when you finish your education, you are going to get somebody to marry. So it's a matter of choice, and when you have choice, you have consequences. You have to think through and take your decision.
Thank you very much. Can I please pass the mic to Mrs. Olabiwono for this question? And that is a question from the young man that says, as a young person, if you're ready to get married, you think you're 10. When the parents say, we don't think it is time. How do you handle such?
Well, we live in a cultural setting where some families feel that the person in front was getting married before the person behind. So they do it like that, like that, like that. If you're in that family, I'm sorry, because it will have been something that was used even for your parents. But then, by and large, with the way things are going, and a lot of people are understanding, Islam more now than before. There is always shura. You call people that are very understanding to your or sympathetic to your situation, especially within family members. It's very, very important. You also contact people that are very close to your father, but more importantly is the mom that does all the I don't know how they do it, but there's a way they can do a short in your father's ears and they will listen. So you really have a lot of groundwork to do. I don't know why they do not believe in you enough to think you can get married. It could be your age. Be the fact that they are seeing some traits in you that does not connote enough responsibility to take care of a woman. It could be a whole lot of things. So you might want to first of all have a dialogue with them, and I don't know whether you have dialogue with your parents, but it's very important that you talk to them and just ask them, without any feeling of hurt, because what you want from them is something true. So you want to ask them really why do you think I can't do it? Don't you trust me? If you trust me to go to school and I finished, you trust me enough to have a job and I'm doing it, why won't you want me to? That is removing the fact that it's not that you have succession planning in your family, marriage succession planning, because In some families, just like I said earlier, the first one must get married first. God help you. You know, so if this is not the situation, then I think you first want to speak with your mom, you know, and you know, I mean, everything right now is all about communication. Just like we have been hammering, we are in a cultural society. We don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. You know, we remember that our parents are very integral in our growth. Because if you do decide eventually to say, okay, fine, I'm going to get married to the person. Remember, cultural family, those people will not release a child for you until your parents give a consent. You know, so it's very important that you have that discussion. And if you have very good siblings, you could attack them. You know, when I use the word attack, I don't mean it literally. You know, you will attack this discussion through your siblings as well. If you believe that you can do it and you have convinced them enough, then you can send them in. They will talk to your parents. But by and large, it is communication, and you need a lot of consultation and people helping you to put in one or two words to make them believe in you.
Thank you very, very much. Okay, so from that question, we go to the question that goes, this is the question of right or left hand. What is the ruling on which one to use to eat? And then the second question is, what's the ruling on arranged marriage Islamically? So the first is on which do you use to eat, right or left, and the second is on arranged marriage. What is the Islamic ruling? One house, please.
Alhamdulillah. Before I delve into that, permit me to say one or two things on two particular questions, especially the first one you posed to me. I didn't get to know that that's a second part, which was about giving advice to such a woman who wants to venture back into marriage. But before I come to that, you see, the issue of a man getting ready, for marriage, and the parents are saying no, we should look at it beyond just telling the immediate solution. Like she said, and Allah bless all of us, there is a weakness somewhere. There is a reason why those parents or that father is saying no. And it is most likely to be that they are still fending for you. Most likely anyway. Yeah. It might be some of the reasons she mentioned. Certain things you may not know about yourself that your parents know about you. And might just be the house policy. But I think there is always a point in our life that we get to take the mantle of leadership in our homes, especially the male children. Some of us get to that level before marriage. Some of us get to that level after marriage. Some do not even get to that level till he dies. When we grow up as a Muslim child, when we have that sense of responsibility, and we can take charge of certain duties in the home, we will earn something from our parents. Especially if we deal in everything with truthfulness. Truthfulness will always come with a price, and that is trustfulness. When you are truthful, people will trust you. It's natural. So, tí a bá dàgbà, bó ṣe yẹ ká dàgbà, there's always that point that our parents will seek advice from us, seek our views. And in fact, it will be difficult for them to lay out their position on you. There is something around there. And I think aside from all our sister are given to us, especially talking to your mom, letting your mom understand why you need to do it. Àwọn ìyá wa, àwọn ọlọ́mọ, àwọn bàbá wa bá sọ̀rọ̀ jù wá lọ, except to that level tí mo sọ yẹn, and except if you and your father are very close friends. But we must take something from them, or else we will end up doing the same thing they are doing. We must learn that marriage and certificates are different things. Yeah, it is important for women to get empowered to a level before talking about marriage. It's the best advice you can get. It's the best gift you can get from your parents if they insist you have to get to this posture before you do this. And like my sheikh said here, àwọn òbí wa wọ̀nyí ń tán fẹ́. One thing we be àwọn ṣọmọdé rí, àwa ò dẹ̀ ṣàgbàrí. As a result, they have passed through a level we have never been to. So in most cases, they have seen, they have heard. But as much as that, we should try to make sure that we get to that level where we are, and especially bring our own children to that level where they can quickly mature and be the controller of the home. If Allah gives a child wisdom, He gives him most of these things. Naturally, He dictates in the home. May Allah assist us. For the woman going back to marriage, you should be more fearful than the woman going into a forced marriage. And you should know that your case is completely different in all ramifications. In terms of fertility, in terms of obedience, in terms of, name it, anything. As a result, you do not get too excited when you like she mentioned. You do not get overexcited. As a result, there are certain ideals of life you do not trade off that you must speak to. She's giving us a lot of it. But two of it is that, one, there must be somebody in the life of the two of you that can have control over the two of you. Might be family member, might be a scholar, but that person must be an element representing the Prophet of Allah. So that at the point of conflicts, there is somebody to go back to. And this we must cascade down to our own children. The first question, Lara, oh, ìbéèrè ṣé ó nífẹ̀ẹ́, ìyẹn ti wẹ́jù nínú ìbéèrè. Ó nífẹ̀ẹ́, báwo ló ṣe mọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ bá nífẹ̀ẹ́? Gbogbo láì ta lò nígbà tá a ti délé, pretension ni gbogbo ẹ̀. Atọ́kùnrin àtọ́kùnrin la jọ ń pretend. Why? Before you wake up, before she wakes up, ó ti gba text message me. If you are the tears of my eyes, I will never cry because so that I won't lose you. If I were the tears of all such sweet, immediately we marriage got consummated, those things fly away. Completely. I don't read our journey, when we get in, the reality sets in.
Sir, this table we are breaking.
As a result, it is important to ask your daughter, especially daughters, Mbole sura ni mole si. Ta ló lè bá yín dá sọ̀rọ̀ tó kàn bá fẹ́ dá? Ta ló ní control lórí ẹ̀? Because today a lot of male want ti di issue. Lólùbáwí. This is the major problem we have in our community today. What control? Nobody can talk to them. And when you say, I will report you to Imam, so the Imam will call Imam Harab will report you. You see, so the same vein for a woman who is going back into a marriage. Ìwọ àtọkùnrin yẹn láti níbi tẹ̀sùrà ní mọ́lẹ̀sì. Somebody who can assist the two of you in times of crisis. Not only that, you must discuss beyond accommodation, beyond who takes care of the children. You must go to the extent of handing over your children to that man. And when I say handing over, I mean complete handover. When you tell the new husband what your daughter is doing or wants to do, you are only giving him information. But when you say go and meet him, it's your dad, you are handing her over. A lot of these things, ẹni tó ti lọ́lé ọkọ ọkùnrin ni ò tún gbọdọ̀ jáde. Unfortunately, and we must be careful when we talk about matrimony. We must be very careful. And it is not enough to just do wash and say I'm getting out of the marriage. Because it makes you one. We have seen that this is the expression of the scholars, that if a man divorces a woman, there are Sharia reasons why you can get a woman divorced. Yes. The same thing for a man. It is not one-sided. As talaq is for the man, khul'u is for the woman. And in Islamic history, we have seen situations where the Prophet will grant it without asking too many questions. Because what is involved has gone to the level of physical, spiritual, emotional challenges. So there won't be need. There are at a level you can reconcile. At the level where you have those things involved, that marriage may not be able to work. So everybody has what he has right to. It is not enough to just say, I don't want her again. And it is not enough to just say, I don't want him again. Yes, because kò sí reason téèyàn ṣe lè kọ́ bí èèyàn. Rẹ̀ sí reason téèyàn ṣe lè kọ́ ọkọ. Àlùkìyáwó ló ti máa lọ sọ fọ́lọ́hùn bóyá rí sí yẹn justify. Lọ́lé ayé kò sẹ́ni tó máa mú ẹ sí. Even when the court tries, they will only try. That is even where they have scholars, courts, Islamic courts, where you bring such issues to. But when you are hell-bent that you are going, they will leave you. But on the day of Qiyamah, you will come in the face of Allah, before Allah, to say why you have done that. And this is the point I want to make. One tí obìnrin tó wá kọ̀ọ̀kan, for a reason that is not within the Sharia reason. It is either for the rest of her life, and the same thing for a man that divorces a woman. For a reason that is not within the Sharia reason. It is either he lives with one of the two. Either he lives to continue to divorce women in his life. Because you told me to have a or who saw the soul because it is not kò ní dáa kí ẹni tí ó ti ná ọjà kan rí kó máa wá rọ́jú ní ọjà kejì. And that is why it's extremely important that all these things are right or left. The hadith is specific about it. The Prophet was talking to one of the young lads in his time. He said, Ya Ghulam, O young child, say Bismillah, and you want to eat. What would be a meal? Eat with your right hand. What would be by a leaf? And eat of what is near to you. We are Jawa and one road, What do you mean by a leaf? Who are watching it? Wọ́n lè sọ́ra ìdàbà àbúkú ànábì gbádùn pọ̀ mọ́pọ̀ ànábì kọ́ ìwọ́ wà láyé nígbà táwọn ìwọ̀n ilẹ̀ àbóríkà náà tọ́pá lórí máa ń jẹ tán. Just because you want to justify what you want to be, could be my head. What is there to do is what you do. The hadith is clear about that. And the last one.
Arranged marriage.
Arranged marriage is Islamic. In fact, I think we have more problems today because we don't have arranged marriages. Unfortunately, ìgboro ti dàrú gan. Wàláì, àwọn táwọn lálẹ́ ń fẹ́. Then, àwọn tí wọ́n just like Imam said, ìyàwó Sára, wọ́n kàn ń lo èdè yẹn ní. Ẹni tó mọ̀ ló ń wá ẹni tó mọ̀ láti fẹ́. And that was when tí ẹnu àwọn èèyàn kára wọn. Look at all the Islamic marriages that lasted so well and produced the great Sahabas, the great scholars of Islam. Èyí tó lọ fúnra rẹ̀ àrẹ́jì ń bẹ wà bẹ́ẹ̀, èyí tó lọ bí àrẹ́jì wà bẹ́ẹ̀, èyí tí àwọn sàbẹ̀ àrẹ́jì láàrin ara wọn wà bẹ́ẹ̀. If not arrangement, how would it be possible for the Prophet to marry the daughter of Abu Bakr? How would the same Prophet marry the daughter of Umar? How would it be that Uthman was given 2 daughters from the Prophet ﷺ? And the Prophet said, if you had gotten the 3rd one, I will give you. But the 2nd one died. Why would Fatima go to Ali? Look at what produced Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Umar bin Abdul Aziz did not belong to the generation of the Khulafa Rashidun. He didn't belong. He was a 3rd generation after them. But what from the product of what was Umar bin Abdul Aziz? Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala was just parading in the night, just as he used to do. And beside his small hut, he was close to Salat Subhi, and he was hearing the mother saying, "Come on, lady, wake up. Add water into the milk so that we make more money." Do you get it? That is gishu. What do we call gishu in English? Deceit. Say add water to milk so that the quantity is more, then you sell for the quality. So, more money. And the young girl said, Ya Ummah, oh mother, قد نهانا أمير المؤمنين عن غش اللبن. The commander of the faithful had warned us about doing this. And the mother was like, one day, Awala Salatu, I know Umar, where is Umar? And he didn't say, oh, no, that will not Umar. Not that he said it on the mimbar. Even the Arab who had gone around the city to announce. Say, I know Umar. Why know Umar? Where is Umar today? And where is Umar's agent? Come on, do what you have to ask to her. Say, Umaru, mother, this is wrong. Then she pushed her away and did what she had to do. You know, Sayyidina Umar marked that house and went back. The following day, he came seeking the hand of that lady in marriage for his son. Are we here? For his own son. And the product was a she, Layla. And it was Layla that married from the family of Mirwan. Married. And Layla and the son of Mirwan gave birth to Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Abdul Aziz from the one family is married to Layla and they gave birth to Umar bin Abdul Aziz. And Umar bin Abdul Aziz in Islamic history is being classified as the 5th Khalif, as great as he was. A product of arranged marriage. But it must be healthy now.
Kabirullah. Wow. I'm sure if you had the whole day, we'll keep enjoying these conversations. But Allah has not given us the latitude of all the time that we want. On behalf of the Lagos City Council, we want to say to Jazakumullah. If we could give you more, we would. But what you're giving us today is something that we're not even quantify, either financial or non-financial. Your time alone is something very important. You decided to spend your afternoon with us today. May Allah bless you. May morning and afternoon. It's almost getting to evening time. May Allah bless you. May He grant your heart desires, and may He forgive you in any way that you've come short. And may He also bless your marriages and marriages of everybody here. Amen. Once again, thank you very much. And on this note, I hand over to the host of today's event, Ibrahim. Thank you very much. My name is Hakim Onosaya.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hakim. That was a lovely panel session. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, Ihdina siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim, ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim wa lad-dallin. Amin.